Hi everybody, I'm Rosemary, also known as Gator, if you follow Roller Derby. I'm just going to do a quick video, hopefully telling a little story. I actually recently posted a spiritual journey that I've been on, that I recorded back in 2024 on YouTube, and I'll post that in the comments if anybody's interested in seeing. But I have a story or things that have happened that feel kind of crazy in my life. So I went to a palm reader about November of 2024. I had been to this palm reader more than once, great results and everything else. So I go to this palm reader, and this time I'm by myself. I usually go with my husband. This time I'm by myself because a couple of times that we've gone, he would hesitate whenever I would tell him that my husband was there. So I was just like, yeah, I think I need to go by myself. But I wasn't really by myself. My daughter and my niece were with me. So I go to the palm readers telling me all these things. I ask him if I should go on this trip that I was going to take to Peru a couple of weeks after that reading, and he's like, well, I'm not sure if you're going to be in the right headspace for that. And then he keeps reading, and eventually he tells me that something's going to happen, that I am going to be too sad because something's going to happen to my husband, and I'm not supposed to take care of him, and I'm not supposed to, stop my life because of this. And then he keeps going into it, and he's pretty much telling me that my husband's going to die. There's something that's going to happen to him, that he's no longer going to be here. So, after the rest of the stuff that he tells me, I haven't cried yet. I'm holding myself together when I tell you that as soon as my niece and my daughter come up to me and they're like, what's wrong? And I'm like, nothing. But they could tell. I tell them, and I just bawl. I just let it all out. Where I'm telling them the story as we're driving to go get something to eat. And I get a text message from my husband. And I have AirPlay, so it plays through the speakers. And it's pretty much him saying, hey, I'm on a break in class. Just want to let you know that I love you. And that's pretty much it. I'll let you know whenever I'm done with my class. And then he goes back and sends another message saying, hey, I'm going to need help writing a eulogy tonight. Eulogy. I'm sorry if I didn't say that right. And I was like, oh, hell no. Like, chills through my whole body. I'm crying even harder. I reply back through AirPlay, but I probably should have pulled over at this point. And I was like, what do you mean a eulogy? A eulogy for who? And first thing that comes to mind, one of his sister's best friend, roommate, brother recently died, which we've known, we've had parties with and all this stuff. So I thought maybe he was asked to write something for his funeral. But no, he replies and he's like, for myself. And I lose it. I literally lose it. And I don't ask any more questions. I'm just he's in class, and he's in class to be a shaman. He's almost done. He'll be only a couple more, maybe half a year left. So day goes on, he gets out, he calls me, and he explains that he has to write a eulogy for his spiritual death for class for the next day. And I was like, oh, okay, because this is what I was told today, that you would be dying, when I'm guessing that this spiritual death showed up as an actual death in the universe. That he would be dying and that I would be too sad. But what you guys don't know is this whole time I'm still not believing that this is the spiritual death, is the death that he's talking about. I'm just like thinking the worst. Something's gonna happen to him. I don't want to leave his side. I am so nice. He's like, oh, you've been super nice to me. You've been like accommodating and easygoing. And I'm like, that's. And then I realize that really that's the way I should be all the time. This man is amazing. He treats me amazing. So it was really, really hard to even think about a life without this man. And I'm gonna get emotional, sorry. And so we live on our lives. We kind of figure out, hey, the spiritual death has to be what he was talking about. Nothing happens on the dates that I go to Peru. You know, I was still really sad, feeling that is a possibility, and every time I would think about like a life without him, like I kept like having that like feeling of, you know, I can't control this. This is something that no matter what, if it happens, I have to deal with. And so I was kind of like going through my head on steps of what I would do if it didn't happen. So after that, we had some challenges and stuff, and this was actually more recent. This is April. In April, we took a trip to North Carolina, and in this trip to North Carolina, I was having some feelings that are because of my past, because of things that have happened in past relationships. So we were on our way to help a shaman that had recently lost her husband, and we all wanted to go up there. It was a group of us, but the two of us were by ourselves in our car because he had a work trip afterwards. So we were driving up there, and on the way up, I feel like I half listen a lot of times, and I know like he'll tell me stuff and maybe I don't fully hear it, or maybe he doesn't fully tell me. I'm not exactly sure. But as we're going up, he asked me to check to see if the group of the other shaman apprentice are coming up, and if they were already there, if they were getting close, if what time they were going to get there. And he's like, oh, we've been messaging in Messenger. So I go into Messenger and I see a message from somebody else, and I was like, well, what is this or whatever, and he's like, oh, you can't read that. And I was like, you've never told me I can't read anything. Like, if there's anything that's been in a relationship, is we have had the most open relationship. He can have my phone, he can look at my phone, he can, you know, tell me anything, and you know, we are super open. Same thing with you know, vice versa. He's always giving me his phone and be like, hey, can you text Susie to this and that, and like never had anything that we have said, no, you can't look at that. So that was very, very hard for me. I was like, what do you mean? I was like, is there something that's gonna like hurt our relationship? He's like, no, it's just something that you cannot see. And like, I was like, that like made my heart drop, because it brought me back to my past. It brought me back to that point where I was constantly being hidden stuff from, and I was constantly feeling like I couldn't trust the person I was with because stuff was being done behind my back, which eventually I found out, yes, they were all, even though he called me crazy and psycho all the time. But it was there. I was in my imagination. So I'm going to have to go to a part 2 because this is about to end and it's just about halfway done. All right. See you guys in a minute. Okay, part 2. To the story of my husband spiritually dying and me losing my shit. Alright, so we're in the car and he's telling me this, and I was like, this is what's gonna break us up. Because, so one thing that I didn't say in the past is we were told that we would not be together anymore, that there will be a point in our lives that we will not be together anymore, which we cannot imagine because we are amazing together. We have both grown so much together. We have helped each other from so much together. I cannot imagine a life without my husband. So in the beginning, I was like, death would be the only way. And now I'm in the car and I'm feeling this feeling that I felt before of being hit and stuff. And he is telling me he can't tell me, he can't let me see, that it's just something that I just have to live with. And I was like, hit my stomach, cannot fathom this. I'm like, this is the one thing that is going to be my deal breaker. I can't live in a relationship where you don't tell me stuff and you have to hide stuff from me. Like, that's going to be really, really hard for me to be able to get over, and I really don't think I can. I'm always going to have this doubt in the back of my head that you are hiding stuff from me. Mind you, my husband works from home. I'm home 24/7. I do not work. Other than having to get my kid from Orlando, I live in Kenansville, which is very far away. That's pretty much the only time that we're really apart. We're together so much. So I'm arguing this whole time. I'm getting loud, I'm getting defensive, and I just cannot understand why he cannot tell me. And he's just pretty much like, hey, with this shaman work, there are certain stories that you are told that you cannot repeat. And he was working with his mentor through some shadow stuff, and he even told me, he's like, some of that shadow stuff does have to do with you, but it's not something that I want you to hear, because it's me with my own doubts needing to put that out there. And then there's stuff in there that she has told me that is not for you to hear, that are her own shadow stuff. And I was like, I'm trying to pull it together and do it, and we're getting closer to the shaman's house, and I was like, I'm at the point that I don't know if I can be at this place and feel this way, like betrayed, even though he didn't really betray me. But I feel like it was betrayal and everything else, because I actually didn't really know, like, I knew he had a mentor, but I didn't know he was talking to his mentor at that point or recently or anything like that. Like, I knew he had, but I did not know he was having conversations with her on Messenger. So that was another thing that for me felt like he was hiding. And I was like, why didn't you tell me you were having conversations with her? It was like, because it was stuff that you were not really supposed to talk about, so I haven't. And I was like, well, at least if I would have known, I would have been okay. So when do you message her? He's like, whenever you're not around is when I try to message her. And I was like, so that even feels like you're being secretive about it, like you're trying to hide it from me. So can you, like, see where I'm coming from, and all those things. And we kind of talked it out through going up there and stuff like that. And he's like, yeah, I can see where you would feel that way, but you have to remember that this is stuff that is I need to do. It's not something that I'm trying to hide from you, and I just need to, I thought that it would be best for me to do it when you're not around, so it doesn't bring up questions, and then I have to explain things that I can't explain to you. And so eventually I calmed myself down enough after lots and lots of crying. It was probably a good 2 hours worth of trying to process, and I would ask a question every once in a while, and he would try to soothe me as much. He was completely calm most of the time. He never really loses his shit on me, because I lose my shit on him a lot, so we'll compare to him. Not as much, but so it definitely challenged our trust, even though it didn't really have to do with our relationship, because I feel like if it would have happened in my first relationship where trust was an issue, I would have let it go and it wouldn't have been a big deal. But because I had all that past shadow stuff that I was still working on, made me really, really focus on that hurt that caused before and feeling like it was going to happen again. So we get to the shaman's house. We're actually going to have a moon ceremony and do some burn sticks, which if you've never done a moon ceremony burn stick, pretty much you throw all the things into the stick that you want to get rid of, stuff that you do no longer want in your life. You know, you want to let go because they're no longer serving you. So I put in there all this stuff. I put in a whole bunch of stuff, that my insecurities and all those things, and I throw it in that burn pile because I wasn't gonna let that bother me anymore. I decided that I'm gonna draw a new path. This is a one-time thing. You know, if he has to not tell me things, I need to be okay with it. You know, if he was a psychiatrist, he wouldn't be able to tell me what was going on with his patients, you know, stuff like that. So I need to trust him, which there's no reason why I should not trust him. So after all of that, we decided that we had helped in the farm, we had gotten everything that we needed done, so we were going to go to a waterfall, which, at the waterfall, me and him, we had a great night. We talked it out. We felt really good about where we were after the ceremony, and giving everything away. And in the waterfall, we kind of took to ourselves. You know, we wanted to be able to talk some and be by ourselves. And we were looking for stones and rocks in the water, in the creek. And while in the creek, we saw a snake, and I'll see if I can try to post these pictures just so you guys can kind of see what I'm talking about. But there's a snake curled up, and in shamanism, snakes means that you're shedding your skin, that you're letting things go, that you're turning a point, which for us was extremely impactful, and we felt so honored that happened. So we get done and everything. We're like, we're not going to disturb the snake. We're going to go over here. We sit here for a while. One of the other shaman apprentices come over and ask us, you know, hey, are we almost done to go? I was like, yeah, we actually have something to show you on the way out. And when we go to show, it was gone. And I was like, I guess it was only for us to see, kind of thing, because it was there, nice and getting some sun. You know, snakes don't like cold, and it was probably in the 60s or 70s. So I kind of felt bad. Luckily, we took a picture of it, so we had proof that the snake was really there. But it was really beautiful, and we actually had gotten some flowers and let those go in the river with our intentions of our future. And we do know that there's going to be times where we will have to be apart, maybe for long periods of time, maybe for short times. But we love each other, and we're going to work hard to keep each other. But that is all. Thank you for listening to this message. I will try to post some more little crazy stories as it happens since my spiritual awakening, and the love that I receive every day is pretty amazing. Even though sometimes I don't feel it, or sometimes I feel really lost, I truly am loved. And not just by my husband, but by God, and by my higher self, and by source, or whatever you believe. The universe. As long as you give good, it gives you good back.